You know that feeling, right? You're rushing, your mind's absolutely racing, you put your key in the door, you turn, and just nothing.
Yeah.
Or maybe worse, it just jams solid, completely frozen.
Oh, yeah. That sudden jolt.
Exactly. It's that immediate, like, spike of stress, and that little debate starts instantly in your head. Do I force it? Do I panic? What do I actually do right now?
It feels huge in the moment.
It does. Such a tiny thing, but it can totally derail your day. You're just stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into those exact, really frustrating moments. We've gathered some fantastic insights to equip you with the knowledge to handle that stubborn key or jammed lock.
Yeah, the goal is basically to turn that panic into, calm, informed action.
Right.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how fast a seemingly small problem like this can escalate.
Oh, definitely.
So our mission today is pretty clear. Give you a step-by-step guide to sort it out without causing more damage, hopefully saving you hassle and, an expensive emergency call.
Think of it as your personal lockout recovery guide.
Exactly. Built on professional advice.
And the stakes are actually quite real. If you make the wrong move, you could seriously damage your lock, or, maybe even worse, snap a key right off in there.
Yeah, that's a whole different headache.
Yeah.
A much bigger fix needed then.
But the good news is the right approach really lowers those chances. So we're going to walk through 5 essential things to try when your key gets difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll talk about when it's just time to call a pro. And finally, maybe how to stop these things from happening in the first place.
Exactly. It's all about giving you that knowledge so you can act confidently.
All right, let's jump in. First crucial tip. Your key's stuck, it won't turn. Often the problem is just a dry or dirty lock. It sounds simple, but apparently it's really common.
Oh, incredibly common. So yeah, the very first thing to try is lubricating the lock cylinder properly.
Okay, lubrication. But I guess this is where the type of lubricant really matters.
It absolutely does. This is critical. So many people just grab whatever's handy, and honestly, that can make things much worse later on.
I bet. So what should we be using? You mentioned specifics like graphite-based or silicone sprays.
Yes, exactly. Those are the go-to options for professionals. Sometimes Teflon-based for interior locks, too. The key thing is why they're preferred.
Okay.
Unlike oil-based products, and this is the big one, like WD-40 graphite or silicone don't attract dust and debris.
Ah, okay. So WD-40 is a bad idea for locks. I feel like everyone has a can of that.
It's a huge misconception. WD-40 is great for many things, but not locks.
Yeah.
Because it's oil-based, it gets sticky over time. It actually traps grime, dust, tiny particles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it builds up into this sort of like abrasive paste inside the lock mechanism. So you might get a temporary fix, but you're basically speeding up the lock's demise. It becomes much harder to fix later. It's really counterproductive.
That makes so much sense. It's not just about the short-term fix, but avoiding future problems. Okay, so you've got the right stuff, graphite or silicone. How do you apply it?
Right. You want to get the little nozzle or the thin straw right into the keyhole. Insert it deep if you can.
Get it right in there.
Exactly. The goal is to get it to the core. Now, if your key is actually stuck in the lock when you do this, just spray alongside the body of the key. Let the lubricant seep down around it.
Okay.
And then you need to wait. Just give it, say, 30 seconds, maybe up to a couple of minutes. Let it penetrate, work its way in. Gravity helps here.
Patience is key then. Pun intended.
Yes. And after you've waited,
just try the key again.
Precisely. Gently try turning it. Gently try removing it. If it doesn't work straight away, you can try one more application, but don't overdo it.
Right. More isn't always better.
Definitely not with locks.
Yeah.
Too much lubricant can actually gum things up over time and cause malfunctions. So yeah, a little goes a long way. Use it sparingly.
Good to know. Okay, so lubrication tried. Maybe it helped, maybe not. What's next? Sometimes it feels less like friction and more like something's just not quite lining up,
Exactly. And that brings us to our second approach. A bit of finesse. Gentle wiggling and jiggling.
Ah, the wiggle.
This is where patience really pays off. It's less about force, more about feeling what's happening inside. Sometimes the pins inside the lock just aren't aligning perfectly.
So how do you do the finesse thing without just snapping the key? Because I know my instinct is to just give it a good hard turn.
Totally understand that instinct. But resist it. Hold the key by the bow, that's the handle part, the bit you hold.
Okay.
Then, very gently, wiggle it. Up and down slightly, or side to side. While you're doing that, apply just a tiny bit of turning pressure, like the bare minimum in the normal unlock direction.
Gentle pressure. Got it.
If the key feels stuck halfway in, Sometimes backing it out just a fraction, then trying to turn again gently can help. Think of it like coaxing it, not forcing it. You're trying to feel for that little click when things line up.
Okay, I can picture that, but the warning here is pretty stark. Always use gentle, controlled movements. Never force the key. Snapping it sounds like a nightmare.
It really is. That's a whole different level of problem. Like you said, if you feel real resistance, just stop, back off, try a different angle, maybe relubricate. Forcing it is the #1 way to break that key.
And if it does break?
Well, now you've got a broken piece of metal jammed deep inside.
Yeah.
That usually means specialized extraction tools are needed. And sometimes the lock itself gets damaged in the process or during extraction. So a simple stuck key can turn into needing a whole new lock. Definitely avoid if possible.
Yikes. Okay, noted. Avoid force. Let's move to number 3, something easily overlooked. Checking door and lock alignment. I've definitely blamed the key when maybe it was the door all along.
Oh, it's so common. A really frequent culprit, especially with UPVC doors,
Yeah.
the plastic ones, or just regular wooden doors. They can shift, swell with humidity or temperature changes.
Right.
So the lock mechanism itself might be perfectly fine, but it's just not lining up correctly with the strike plate on the frame. The bolt can't slide in or out smoothly.
So what's the quick check for that? What can you do right there at the door?
First, just make sure the door is properly closed, like fully pushed into the frame.
Okay.
Then, while you try to turn the key again, gently experiment with pushing or pulling the door, or even lifting the handle slightly, or lifting the door itself just a tiny bit.
Relieving the pressure.
Exactly. Sometimes just leaning on the door or pulling it towards you a fraction is enough to realign things so the key can turn. It's surprising how often that works.
Any other tricks for alignment, especially with weather?
Yeah, good point. If it's really cold, or if you suspect the door has swollen due to damp weather, sometimes gently warming the lock area with a hairdryer can help. Just on a low setting. It can ease things up if there's any slight freezing or sticking due to expansion.
That hairdryer tip is clever. But what if this alignment issue is happening all the time? Like you always have to jiggle the handle or push the door?
Right. If it's a constant thing, that's usually a sign of a bigger issue. It could be worn hinges, the door frame might have shifted slightly, maybe even foundation settling in older homes. Persistent alignment problems really need addressing properly. Ignoring them means you'll keep having trouble, and eventually it could damage the lock or the door itself. It's part of that bigger picture of home maintenance,
Yeah.
spotting those patterns.
Makes sense. Okay, tip number 4. Inspect and clean the key and the keyhole. Back to basics, maybe it's just dirt.
Exactly. Simple grime, lint from your pocket, or even a tiny bit of damage to the key itself that you haven't noticed.
So, assuming you can get the key out this time, what are you looking for on the key?
Take a good look at the key blade. Is it bent? Even slightly. Are there any little metal burrs sticking out? Does it look generally worn down compared to maybe a spare?
Okay.
If you see anything obvious, just give it a clean with a soft cloth first.
And the keyhole itself, how do you check that?
Grab a flashlight, shine it right in there.
Yeah.
Look for obvious obstructions, dust bunnies, maybe a bit of grit. You can try using a can of compressed air, the kind for keyboards to blow out anything loose. Or, carefully, use a small, clean brush, maybe like an interdental brush, or even a cotton swab, just slightly dampened with rubbing alcohol to gently clean inside.
Okay. Then try the clean key again.
Yep. Reinsert the clean key and try gently turning it again. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Now, there was a specific warning about finding damage on the key itself. What was the advice there? And I have to ask again, what is the risk of just keep using a slightly bent or worn key?
The advice is crystal clear. If the key is visibly bent, burred, or damaged, get a replacement. Don't keep using it.
It's not just inconvenient.
No, it's actively harmful. Think about it.
Yeah.
Every time you force that damaged key into the lock, you're not just struggling, you're potentially grinding against the internal parts of the lock cylinder. Those little pins inside are quite delicate.
Oh, wow.
You could be literally filing them down or bending them over time. It accelerates wear and tear on the lock mechanism itself.
Yeah.
So using a bad key will eventually lead to lock failure, making the situation way more complicated and expensive to fix down the road.
Wait, so using a bad key can actually file down the inside of the lock? I just thought it was annoying, not, like, destructive.
It's a really crucial point. It is destructive over time. That's a huge incentive to replace a dodgy key immediately.
Absolutely. Okay, final troubleshooting step number 5. This one seems like a good diagnostic tool. Trying a spare key.
Yes, this is often the quickest way to figure out where the problem lies. Is it the key you're holding or the lock itself?
So how does that work?
Pretty straightforward. Get your spare key, try it in the lock.
Okay.
If the spare key works perfectly smoothly, well, then your original key is almost certainly the problem. It's worn, damaged, bent, whatever. Time to get a new one cut or stop using that original.
And if the spare doesn't work either?
Ah, okay. If neither key works, then the issue is almost definitely inside the lock mechanism itself. That's a strong signal that you probably need professional help, a locksmith.
Gotcha. That really narrows it down. Was there a specific warning about certain door types here?
Yes, a quick but important one, especially for sliding doors or maybe security screen doors. Avoid leaving the key in the lock on the inside.
Oh, why is that?
Because if the door gets bumped, slammed, or even just slid quickly, the key can easily snap off in the cylinder. It happens more often than you'd think. Very risky habit.
Good tip. And speaking of spare keys, there was another crucial point about getting them made, wasn't there?
Yes, really important.
Mm-hmm.
Always try to get a spare key cut from the original key that came with the lock if possible, or at least from a key that is in perfect condition.
Why the original specifically?
Because if you make a copy from a key that's already a bit worn or slightly damaged, well, you're essentially copying the flaws.
Makes sense.
Even tiny changes in the shape get duplicated. That new key might work okay at first, or it might be problematic right away, or cause issues down the line.
Mm-hmm.
You want the best possible template, which is usually the original. Copying a copy of a copy just degrades the quality each time.
Start with the best source. Got it. Okay, so we've covered 5 really practical things you can try yourself. Lubricate, wiggle gently, check alignment, clean things up, try a spare. But what if you've done all that and you're still locked out? When is it time to just call for help?
The signal's pretty clear, really. If you've genuinely tried all those steps carefully and the key still won't turn or come out, or of course if the key has actually broken off inside the lock,
Then it's pro time.
then it's absolutely pro time. Call a reputable locksmith.
Why is it so important not to just, grab some pliers from the garage and have a go yourself? I can picture myself trying that, probably making it worse.
You probably would.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be alone. But attempting to force the lock or using makeshift tools like pliers or screwdrivers when you don't know exactly what you're doing, you can cause so much more damage.
Right.
You can wreck the cylinder, damage the door itself, turn a relatively simple extraction into a situation requiring a full, expensive lock replacement. Locksmiths have specialized tools, thin extractors, tension wrenches, scopes sometimes, and crucially, the expertise to diagnose the real problem and fix it without causing collateral damage.
It's an investment in not creating a bigger, costlier mess.
Precisely. Pay a bit now to avoid paying a lot more later.
Okay, that makes total sense. Let's shift gears slightly then to prevention. How do we stop ending up in this frustrating spot in the first place?
This really brings it back to that bigger picture.
Yeah.
So many of these lock issues are completely preventable with just a little bit of, routine care. A proactive approach saves so much stress, time, and money.
What are the key things we should be doing?
A few main things. First, regular maintenance. Just occasionally, maybe once or twice a year, lubricate your main door locks with the right stuff, the graphite or a silicone spray we talked about. Clean out the keyhole gently.
Add it to the home maintenance list.
Exactly.
Okay.
Second, deal with keys promptly. If a key starts feeling stiff or if you know it's bent or worn, get it replaced before it fails completely or damages the lock.
Don't wait for the crisis.
Right. Third, address those door alignment issues. If your door scrapes or you always have to lift the handle to lock it, get the hinges or frame checked out, fix the underlying problem. And finally, and this applies always, use your keys gently. Avoid excessive force. Smooth, controlled movements drastically reduce the chances of damaging both the key and the lock.
So, recapping the actions. Lubricate properly, wiggle gently, chuck the door alignment, inspect and clean your key and keyhole, and use that spare key wisely for diagnosis. These seem like really manageable but powerful steps.
They really are. And that's the core idea, isn't it? Understanding why these things work gives you the confidence to act.
Yeah.
You're not just blindly trying things. You understand the mechanics a bit better. You're taking control of your home's upkeep.
So, we've gone through these practical steps. But stepping back, maybe the really interesting thing here, it isn't just about locks, is it?
How do you mean?
Well, think about how much we rely on these tiny, precise mechanisms every single day, often without a second thought until they fail. That stuck key. It's kind of a reminder, isn't it? A hairline bend in metal, a speck of dust, and suddenly our whole schedule, our calm, just grinds to a halt.
That's a great point. It highlights how interconnected everything is and how much depends on small details working correctly. It's about precision and, yeah, preventative care.
So maybe this raises a question for everyone listening. What other small, maybe overlooked maintenance tasks in your life could prevent a bigger headache later on? It could be anything from that squeaky hinge you ignore to maybe a flickering light bulb.
Yeah, the principle's the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Regular care, timely intervention, it applies everywhere.
So we encourage you, look around your own home this week. Is there some small mechanical thing, something you usually ignore that could use a little preventative attention worth thinking about?
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.
And keep those keys turning smoothly.